A few days before this, all we had was a foundation sitting in the yard. Now the chicks finally have a real home. But getting from the floor to this finished coop took a lot more than we expected. Once the foundation was finished, this was the part where the whole build finally started to change. Up to this point, it was still mostly a platform sitting in the yard, but once we started framing the walls, it finally began to look like a chicken coop. This first part was a lot of measuring, cutting, checking, and trying to keep everything square. And since I didn't buy 12-foot boards for every section, I had to make some 8-foot boards work by joining pieces together and cutting off what I didn't need. It wasn't perfect, and it definitely took some figuring out. But once that first wall started coming together, the rest of the build started to feel possible.
All right, guys, that's it. That's the end of day 4. We didn't make it to the end. We didn't get to the fourth and last wall, but we did get 3 walls put up. We ran out of wood, but sometimes that happens. You just have to keep rolling. So tomorrow we'll probably go get some more wood and then kick it back off later on that day. But I'm happy about what we got. It definitely looks a lot better than it did. Not just a platform anymore. We got a coop, a half coop, well, 3/4 coop, but we're almost there. Stay tuned. We'll see you next time.
Day 4 ended with 3 walls up and 1 wall short. Part of the reason we ran short on lumber was because we used more wood than we first planned back on the foundation. We added blocking between the floor joists to make the base stronger, and that was the right decision. But it also used up some of the boards we thought we would still have for the walls. So before we could close this thing in, we had to make another materials run. Once we got back, the goal was simple: finish the last wall and start closing in the coop. Getting that 4th wall up made a big difference. It finally had a front, a back, and sides. And once the plywood started going on, the whole thing changed again. It stopped looking like a frame and started looking like a real structure. We still had a long ways to go, but this was the part of the build where you could finally see what we had been working towards.
All right, guys, that's it for day 5. We didn't get as far as we wanted to. We got most of the siding put on. We didn't get the roof finished, but that's a big part that we got done today. Tomorrow we should be able to get into the roof. See you again tomorrow. Yesterday, this thing started to feel more like a coop. Today, I'm trying to keep that going.
By day 6, the coop was finally starting to look closed in, but we still had some of the harder work ahead of us. We needed to finish the siding, get the roof structure ready, and make sure we had ventilation before everything was sealed up. We went with a lean-to roof, with the front wall higher than the back. And I'll be honest, once I started working up there, that roof felt a lot steeper than it looked from the ground. Once the black paint started going on, the whole look of the coop changed. Before that, it looked like a project, but the paint made it feel like it belonged here with the house and the rest of the homestead. We got the paint from a local liquidation store, and that helped us keep the cost down without giving up on the look we wanted. After that, we started working on the run. The coop gave them the shelter, but the run gave them the space to move around while still being protected. So we dug the base in and set the post and framed it out and started wrapping it with the hardware cloth. The outside was coming together, but the inside still needed a lot of finishing work. We borrowed a paint sprayer for the interior, and that made a big difference. It helped brighten everything up and made the inside feel cleaner and more finished. The windows we used were actually windows we had bought for the house. They had been installed at one point, but when our house plan changed, we took them out and stored them away. So instead of letting them sit unused, we gave them a new purpose in the chicken coop. After the windows were in, I started trimming out everything. sealing the edges, and adding hardware cloth to the upper ventilation areas. Some of that work was slow and repetitive, but those little details are what helped the coop feel finished instead of just thrown together. Finally, it was move-in day. These chicks started out in a brooder, and now they had a coop and a run of their own. By the time we were finished, our flock had already grown. Some of these chicks hatched right here on our homestead. Our neighbor gave us more, and our youngest daughter even chose chicks as a homeschool reward. So this coop went from being something we wanted to build to something we really needed. It's not perfect, and there are still things we'll add later, like more roost bars, a poop tray, and nesting boxes. But when we stood back and looked at it, we were proud. We built this as a family, and now every time we look out there, we see something we made together. Now that the work is done, I want to keep it real for a minute. This build looks good now that it's finished, but getting here wasn't as smooth as it looked on video. There were moments where I felt like I had it figured out, but then something small would come along and slow me down. The first wall took longer than expected. We ran short on wood. The roof had me second guessing myself. And being up there on that slope in the heat, cramping up, trying to get the roof done, that was probably the part that tried me the most. And I'll be honest, sometimes when you're doing this stuff yourself, you feel the pressure. You want it to look good. You want it to be strong. You want your family to be proud of it. And at the same time, you're learning while you're doing it. I know this coop isn't perfect. There's things I probably go back and touch up. There's still things we need to add, like more roosting bars, a poop tray, nesting boxes. But I'm proud of it. I'm proud because we just didn't go buy something and set it in the yard. We built this. The kids built this. My wife built this. We used what we could, borrowed what made sense, and figured out the rest as we went. So when I look at it, I don't just see a chicken coop. I see long days. I see mistakes. I see moments where we had to stop and adjust. I see my family out there working together. And that's the part that means the most to me.